have they offered to hire you after you finish your degree?
No, means it was like many people have already worked on it. So
Okay.
it was just a normal experience they wanted to provide us.
Our company is an online retailer. We sell clothing such as fashionable hats, skirts, trousers, blouses, all kind of things, suits. So based on that, how do you feel about working or doing an internship at this kind of company?
It's like as I can see that it is a clothing industry, clothing company, and it will be working on people of all ages. So as a data analyst or as a data scientist, I'll have to work on images mostly, and it will be a great experience as the mostly my working will depend upon the data analytics which are related to recommendation systems, and then even we can implement augmented reality actually into this industry.
What does the interviewer think at this point? He thinks this guy appears smart, but is not very relatable. He is talking about some strange things, augmented reality. Well, at least he said it will be a great experience. This probably means he is excited.
Maybe how about you tell me a little bit about your background, how the part that's relevant for this role?
Okay, so fine. I have made a movie recommender system for this. So this it has two types: collaborative filtering, etc. And the same can be implemented on for your company, which is like the most important thing for any company is their customers, and providing customers the best provision or say a great recommendation for their products will help a lot in understanding and provide a greater chances to attract them. So this will help a lot.
Confident pitch to build a recommendation system for the company. However, the question was about his background, and his answer is about why a recommendation system is helpful in general, which is something I already know. So he's not answering the question.
So more specific, can you tell me about your background, right? So something like I studied X and I had internships at Y, and something that's relevant to this position to show that you're a good fit.
Okay. So I have worked on many freelancing projects for such companies, and on similar products. Also, I've been quite working on data science and deep learning. So and on similar projects. So this I guess will be a great fit.
This answer is a little naive. Of course, every interviewee will gladly say that this will be a great fit, but it may or may not be the case, and the interviewer wants to judge it for himself. For that, he needs the actual details of this person's background and the projects this person has worked on in the past.
Can you just tell me specifically some of your past experiences? Just pick one internship or project from your past that is similar.
There was a classification project that we had done on a data set of various apparels where we had to classify their clothings based on the photographs, and with that even we also observing what the person is wearing. Our system, which was capturing the video of the whole scenario in the shop, or it was capturing and and providing just recommendations for that person what it can be. So basically this was the shop, and that product was implemented into the offline site of the shop. Regarding the online site, it will be uh, again like similar. Here we'll be accepting the recommendations based upon the data of what they have bought previously, and we can exactly suggest them out of all the variety of things that we have.
Finally, we are getting somewhere. We have learned that the interviewee has worked on a classification system that had to classify pieces of clothing by using their images. Even though it's a little unclear what is an online site and an offline site, he has answered the question precisely. The only strange part is that he failed to highlight the similarity between that past experience of his and the activities of the company he is currently interviewing with, which is an online clothing retailer. It would have been more natural to start by saying, well, in fact, I have worked on a similar project in the past, which was not a recommendation system, but a classification system for various pieces of clothing.
But let's be more specific again. Can you name just one specific project that you did that is similar?
Clothes classification based upon the photographs. Then
no, wait, I never said we have to classify the clothes based on photographs. I'm just saying we are an online retailer that sell clothing, and then we use analytics to support this process. We don't have to classify anything because we already know our merchandise. It's our merchandise, right? We don't have to classify it. We just use analytics to sell it better. For example, to see patterns in what customers are buying.
We can analyze the demographic situation, that how geographically the customer patterns are spread all over the world, all over the globe. We can increase our markets in that way. Even we can estimate that how our sales will go into a particular region. Accordingly, we can shift the marketing things, and this can be done to increase the sales to a huge extent.
This is very interesting. What has just happened? Let us listen again.
But let's be more specific again. Can you name just one specific project that you did that is similar?
Clothes classification based upon the photographs. Then
no, wait, I never said we have to classify the clothes based on photographs.
The interviewer has misunderstood the answer. He has misinterpreted the answer as specific advice in terms of what his company, the online retailer, could do. Instead, the interviewee was just telling about his background. The confusion stemmed from the similarity between the two because both have to deal with clothing. As was pointed out previously, the interviewee had not highlighted the similarity, and that's made it possible for the confusion to arise. It is also interesting to notice the power dynamics here. Because the interviewer has the power, he interprets the misunderstanding in his favor. If there is a misunderstanding, the interviewer thinks that he is right. Notice also how the interviewee is not trying to rectify the misunderstanding.
We just use analytics to sell it better, for example, to see patterns in what customers are buying.
Yeah, we can analyze the demographic situation, that how geographically the customer patterns are spread all over the world.
He could have said, "Excuse me, I feel there is a misunderstanding. I was actually describing a past experience of mine and was not making suggestions how you should run your business." Instead, the interviewee just goes along with the interpretation and accepts the assumption that he misunderstood something and continues brainstorming other things. Analytics can be applied to help the company he is currently interviewing with. In this way, he is solidifying the impression that he is the one who has made a mistake, that he is the one who is wrong.
But again, can you name a particular project you worked on that is similar in some ways? Or just any project we discussed?
At JP Morgan, which was a virtual experience internship. So basically we worked on stock analysis, which was quite related to prediction and understanding the marketing stuff. And it was done using TypeScript. So it was a great experience, and that knowledge can be used here to increase the sales.
Okay, and so tell me more about this project. What was your role in it?
So basically this was an individual internship because there wasn't any team, because it was a mini project, and they gave us an API which used to provide us quite a data to process their needs, etc. And accordingly we had to predict that how the stocks will go. Apart from this, we also gave them some visualization features on our dashboard where they could understand it more elaborately and made strategies according to it.
Did you work on it by yourself? Because you keep saying we. Who is we?
Sometimes it was like we worked in collaboration. Means even if it was individual internship, but I just took help of one of my friend who was also working on the same. So it's just that we share our problems, whatever we are facing, so that we can help each other tackle them. Because the thing which I am thinking might not be thought by him, and the thing which I'm not thinking might be thought by him. And because we were working on the same in a company sort of thing, so it is fine, I guess, to share problems so that we can.
The story is getting complicated, so let us recap. This was an individual internship by JP Morgan. Many people were working together on the same project in those so-called individual internships, and they could communicate with each other, but somehow they were supposed to do it on their own. Probably much like in a university, the students can study for an exam together, but have to take it on their own. It is a little unclear why those are called internships and why JP Morgan would use such a format. We have also learned that the goal was to predict stock prices. Now let's find out how much time JP Morgan has given those students to learn to predict the stock prices while working individually.
Exactly.
How long was the internship?
It was a month of, the duration was of a month.
Was it full time?
No. It was a part-time internship.
Okay. And so your job was basically to write code.
Yeah.
Did you interact with your manager or other, like what other people from the company you interacted with?
It was just a mentor who was assigned to us, who was handling and guiding us in case we fall into some problem. And that was the only single point of contact for us.
So this mentor, he told you what to do and then he checked your results.
Yeah, exactly. He used to keep track of each week that how we are proceeding. We had to submit our data in the form of a patch file, and he used to check it and let us know whether we have passed to the next stage or not. If yes, it's good. If not, then we'll have to just work on it and make it better.
Why did it not continue after 1 month?
No, because the duration of the project was supposed to be 1 month actually. They had planned only that much in that virtual experience.
Have they offered to hire you after you finish your degree?
No, means it was like many people have already worked on it, and they just wanted to give an overview at like how things work at our end. And so there were many people who were already working on the same project under the same internship. So it
Okay.
was just a normal experience they wanted to provide us.
Okay. Okay, makes sense.
So let me get it straight. JP Morgan takes a bunch of students and assigns them to work on predicting stock prices, working part-time for 1 month. There is no expectation to continue the project beyond this 1 month period, and JP Morgan is not interested in hiring any of those people. In fact, too many of them are already working on this project, but somehow JP Morgan doesn't mind bringing even more students on board just to provide them with so-called normal experience. In case the sarcasm was not obvious, this situation strikes me as anything but normal. To me, it seems highly unusual, bizarre. It is instructive to notice how, at the same time, it appears completely normal to the interviewee because that's what he has experienced and he has not experienced much else. So two people, in this case the interviewer and interviewee, can disagree as to whether something is normal or highly abnormal because of their differences in their life experiences. And it is the differences in life experiences that most often lead to misunderstanding between people.
So it was just a normal experience they wanted to provide us.
Okay, makes sense. So
Yeah.
let me tell you a little more about now some of the tasks we have at our company. So on our website, you have to log in before you can make a purchase, right? You have to be a registered user and logged in. So recently we tried adding a recommendation system. When you log in, you see a widget that says, based on your order history, here are some amazing items that you should check out.
Yeah.
Right? So we implemented it, and now we are trying to understand if it's actually working well and adding any value. So we did an A/B test. Have you heard of A/B tests?
No.
So A/B test means we split traffic randomly into groups A and B. A is also known as a control group. They see the website as normal. B is the treatment group, means they see our new recommendation system that shows each person their personalized recommendations. But in the group A, they don't see any recommendations, right? And the split is just random. So my question would be, if I want to understand whether my recommendations are doing well, what metric should I use?
To understand whether it's working or not, right?
Right.
Yeah. So if recommendation is working, then it will eventually relate with the increase in sales as well as their customer satisfaction, which we can get through their feedbacks after each of their orders. So this will be helpful in understanding the same.
This answer, while relevant, fails to answer the question. First, when it comes to the form, the question was asking, what metric should we use? Therefore, the answer should be, the metric is X, or we can use the metric X, where X can be total revenue or average user satisfaction or some other metric. Second, this answer is not specific enough to be useful. For example, if we say that an increase in the number of daily sales would indicate that the recommendation system is working, this does not tell us by how much those sales have to increase. What if there is just one more sale with recommendations as opposed to without? Does it still mean the recommendations are working? And this is not a small matter, because maintaining the recommendation system costs developer time, which costs money. There is also the opportunity cost. If we keep the recommendation widget on the page, then we cannot place there another widget which could have potentially increased the sales more significantly. In short, the answer fails to address the question satisfactorily, both in terms of form and substance.
Well, can you elaborate? Like I have to make a decision if they work or not, right? The recommendations. Sure, I have a feedback, and then what? What do I do now with this feedback?
Basically, if we could visualize the data that we have, we can see the graph of the scale of the sales, which will be increasing. And regarding the feedback, if uh, even if there is a slight change into the feedback, that slight change into the which will be normally into the form of stars rating from 1 to 5, that even a small rating change will mean a big difference.
Okay, so then why do we, well, you haven't heard about A/B tests before, but why do you think we split traffic?
Basically because so that we can understand what differences are observed into these two scenarios where there is recommendation system and where it is not.
Right.
So if we could observe the increase in the sales, because if there had been like no recommendation system in both of the regions, the graph would have been same for both of them. But if we can see some relative difference into the two regions, that will mean that there is some change, and the very reason behind that change would be the recommendation system we are bringing in.
So if we see difference in what?
The sales and customer satisfaction ratings.
So when you say sales, can you be more specific? Like what are you talking about? Amount, like, because there are many different numbers when you talk about sales.
Yeah, it will be the frequency of products and related products that the person uses which are sold. So because see, suppose I'm a developer, so what I'll be needing is a laptop, a mouse, and all the electronic gadgets. So if we could, if I'm buying the laptop, it will suggest me a mouse. So if we could see that a combined set is getting increased, and suppose there is someone else who is buying a mouse, then he might be getting the suggestion of headphones. So this combined increase in a particular domain will mean that recommendation system in this domain is for that particular region is working well.
Okay, got it.
The interviewee started well by pointing out that we can compare the sales or the customer satisfaction in the A group with those in the B group, and therefore discover if the recommendations are performing well. The follow-up question was to finally clarify the metric. Are we looking at a total number of daily sales? Are we looking at total revenue? Are we looking at total profit? Are we looking at the average number of repeat sales per customer within a certain time frame? Instead, the interviewee went on to explain why recommendation systems can be helpful in general by illustrating it with an example of a developer who has bought a laptop and now can be upsold to also buy a pair of headphones. However, the interviewer is well aware of the benefits of the recommendation systems in general. At this point, the interviewer decided to move on to the next section. Even though the interviewee has made some very good points, the overall amount of miscommunication has made a rather poor impression so far. Fortunately, his strong performance in the math and especially programming sections on the interview will allow to turn this impression around, as we are now about to see.
let's move on. Let me ask you some math question. Right?
Yeah.
So let's say we have a deck of cards, 52 cards, spades, hearts, diamonds, and clubs.
Yeah.
13 of each suit. Let's just say I pick one card from the deck at random. What is the chance that this card is a diamond?
1/4.
Sure.
A quarter.
And now let's say I pick one card at random. I put it back. I shuffle again, and then I again pick one card at random. What is the chance?
Again, it will be.
So I take one card at random, I put back, I shuffle, and then I again take one card out. What is the chance both cards are diamonds?
Both cards are diamonds. So it will be like 13/52 into 12/52.
No, again, I take card out, I put it back.
Okay.
Right? I replace it back in the deck, and then I shuffle, then I again take one card out.
Okay. So it will be like again 13/52 multiplied by 13/52. So it's 1/16.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now let's say I take two cards at the same time.
Okay.
What is the chance both of them are diamonds?
So 13/52 multiplied by 12/52.
By 51, actually.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, sorry. 51. Yes.
Okay.
One is removed.
Now, again, I take two cards at the same time. And what is the chance exactly one is a diamond?
Exactly one is a diamond. So it will be 13/52 multiplied by 52 minus 52 minus 12 divided by 51.
Okay, and how much is it approximately?
It will be like 3/16 around. Yes.
Sure.
Means just a normal.
Right. So if to get both is like 1/16, to get one, you said it's like 3/16. So, and what about if I want to have no diamonds? So two cards at the same time, no diamonds.
So
It is astonishing how many otherwise smart and well-educated people get this question wrong. To compute the probability to have exactly one diamond when you are picking two cards at the same time at random out of a 52 card deck. Ask your friends. See how they will fare. Also, the last question about the probability to get no diamonds at all is a hint, because the three numbers, the three probabilities, are not going to add up to 1. Hopefully, he will notice it and realize his mistake.
so it will be no diamonds. Yeah. So 52 minus 13 divided by 52 whole square of it.
Okay. Well, almost.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Means it will be like 51 at the second situation.
And on the 38 instead of 39.
Yeah.
So how much is that approximately?
It will be like 9/16 around.
Sure. So let's add it together. You have approximately 1/16, approximately 3/16, and approximately 9/16. If you add it together, you get 13/16 approximately.
Yeah.
Right? But it should add up to 1 because it's either 0, 1, or 2. There is no other option.
Yeah, because probability sums to 1. Yes, right.
But it seems to sum to 13 over 16.
13 by 16, yeah. So that's interesting. Maybe I don't know the answer.
Well, maybe, but maybe you can figure it out.
There is a situation where we aren't taking any of them. There is a situation where we're taking exactly 1 out of the 2. And there's a situation where it's both.
Say it again.
Means all the 3 situations like 0, 1, and 2 as diamonds in their pits. Nope, sorry, sir.
So what do you think?
There is definitely some situation which I guess we are missing, which I cannot see at this moment. Or it might be that the minor changes, minor differences in the values might be making it fun. So these are the 2 possibilities I think of at the moment.
Right, but can you figure out?
Excellent. He has realized there has to be a mistake because the probability to have exactly 0 diamonds in the 2 cards plus the probability to have exactly 1 plus the probability to have exactly 2 should theoretically add up to 1, but the numbers are not working out. One theory that the interviewee had is that the minor differences in our approximate computations add up to create a larger error. However, a more careful computation reveals that this is not the problem. For example, we approximated the probability of having no diamonds among the 2 cards as 9 over 16, whereas in fact the true number is 39 over 52 multiplied by 38 over 51. But a careful computation shows this number is indeed very close to 9 over 16, whereas the discrepancy we are observing is much larger, so there has to be another reason.
Right, but can you figure out why? Just think for a little more. Minor differences you can check. You know, it's not, I can tell you minor differences if you change 52 to 51 or 38 to 39, all right? It's less than 10% difference in each of those cases, right? So
Yeah,
a 10% difference will not make 13 over 16 into 16 over 16 because 3 over 16 is more than 10%.
Yeah, right. Okay, let me think. 3 by 16. Okay, it was okay. I just get it. Means I'm not sure, but it's worth that. There was a situation where the first one is red out of the 2, and there is a situation when the second one is right.
Okay.
And I guess the probability of this will be 3 by 16 and 3 by 16. So that's how it may sum up to 16 by 16.
Yep.
Right?
That's exactly right. Okay, very good. You see, if you just try a little more, you can figure it out. Don't give up so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finally, he has figured it out. Most people make the same mistake, and yet most people are unable to find this mistake unless I basically tell them the whole solution. It is amazing how much can be accomplished with perseverance. When I was training for programming competitions, and later when I was a graduate student in mathematics, sometimes I would not know how to solve a problem, and I would just keep thinking. I would keep thinking for an hour or a day or 2 days or 3 days. Try this approach. If you cannot solve a problem, just keep thinking about it. Keep trying.
So let's say you like Python, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So let's say we have a list of integers, and you
Okay.
know, in a list of integers, all numbers all can be unique, or some numbers can be repeating. So I would like you to write a function that checks for repetitions in a list of integers. So it takes a list as an argument, returns true if there are repetitions, or false if every number is unique.
Okay. So if it is unit, then it will return true.
No, if
Else,
it has repetitions.
yeah, means yes, exactly. If it has got repetitions, then it will return true.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, if it has got repetitions, it will return true.
Mhm.
And if it hasn't got, then it will return false. So
Excellent job. Solved in under 1 minute. Now, this is what I like to see.
test of say 1, 2, 2, 3.
Okay,
That's,
fine.
yeah.
And you can
Let's
make
save
it
as
you can make it even shorter, by the way, your function.
yeah, I mean, in a single liner, right? But I'll do it.
No, even less. Yeah. Okay. No. Just remove the else. Remove the true. No, just even shorter. You can just say return len of set of L less than len of L.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it itself will return a Boolean thing. Yeah.
Right. You do need the less sign though.
Yeah.
Because now otherwise false will become true and vice versa.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So now let's say you have a list of lists of integers.
Okay.
Right, and the same question, the function should return true if there are any repetitions, meaning the big list has two small lists that are exactly the same. Otherwise, return false.
Okay.
If you want an example, let's say you have 1 to 3, 1, 2, and 1 to 3.
Yeah.
That would be a repetition.
We'll run this thing.
Well, this one will not work. That's why it's a second question.
Yeah, exactly. So I have to check whether they are same or not. So yeah, so what I can do is I can create a temporary list, and for I in L, if I is already in temp, then that means that there is a repetition. So I can return whatever I have to return accordingly. Say, suppose if there is repetition, then I have to return false. Suppose, then I'll return false. And if it just goes throughout, I'll return true.
Let's see.
Yeah.
If but temp is always empty.
Yeah. I'll, if not, then I'll append temp dot append. Hi. Wait.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think vice versa. It has to be false and true.
Yeah. That switching.
Interesting.
Under 2 minutes 30 seconds. Despite a small mistake that it returns true instead of false and false instead of true, this is really, really good. Also, this solution is very elegant.
So what is the complexity of the solution? Time complexity?
So because we have a for loop, so it is definitely greater than big of n. And now at the same time, because we are also iterating through the temp, means the way if I in temp works, so if I assume that it works iteratively, then it will be like big of n into big of it will be big of n square, I guess.
Well, I think the line number 4, if it is, it may have to go through every list that you already saw, and then it may have to compare every element in the worst case. So that alone can be n squared. So the whole thing actually can be n cubed.
Yes. So it's quite worse.
But it works.
Yeah, it works.
So an easier way to do it, you can just convert everything to tuples from lists.
Yeah. Yeah, means if we just use tuples, then it becomes quite fast, right? Because of it is immutable, so it requires even less space.
Well,
so that
no, if it's a tuple, then you can use the previous solution. Because you can have a set of tuples.
Yes. Right. So actually, I haven't much used tuples for this thing, because normally here when we use tuples, it mostly when it comes to application development, it is normally where we have to store or have the data which is supposed to be immutable and which normally holds some credentials or something. So I cannot think of a way, I guess.
Or you can just cast a list to a tuple in just by writing tuple of.
Yeah, means I can just make it a tuple, and
no, this will not help you. I'm saying, so if you take your original solution, right?
Yeah.
Which used the set.
Yes.
Right, remember the return len of set of L is not len of L.
Yeah, so that thing will work in case of tuples.
Well, almost.
Okay, so
I mean, it, well, no, it was, well, that is never true, of course. No, we don't care about L itself, but we care about the elements of L.
Yeah, so if I make yeah, okay, so it is my temp is a list, and what I do is I add L is equal to tuple of I for I in L. So
exactly.
So I won't be needing this thing now, and I'll be using each element of the given list as a tuple, and then I'll be checking whether the length matches or not.
Yeah, exactly. Or you could have written a second function which calls the first function, if you prefer, right? Because then you can, so if you, let's say your first function was as it was, right?
Yeah.
Then you can have a second function that literally just says return, right? And then you literally say return test of.
Yeah.
So in the second function, you literally say return test of tuple of no. You say tuple of I for I in L. Like in line 6.
Yeah, okay, so here L is equal to test2. It will just and L this way.
No, don't make it recursive. No, you just delete line 2. So you keep the first function as it was.
Okay.
And then here, here instead of line, no, we don't need second line. So in line 6, you just say return test of. So only, okay, line 5, sorry now. Now it's line 5.
Okay.
So just change line 5 and say return test of. And then you put this thing in between the brackets.
A minor correction is that we need another pair of round brackets in line 5. But notice how fluent he is with programming, how easily he can pick up new ideas.
Thank you. Okay, so now we are done with the interview and we are in the discussion part.
Okay.
So now you can
Fine.
say how you feel.
Yeah, so I can just directly see that I lacked a lot, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I could have performed better. And but it was a great experience. Means this was my very first interview of my life, actually.
Oh, wow.
And I got to learn a lot that how the experience is going to be, and definitely what I learned today, I can use it, to improve myself with a great extent. As I can see, there's a huge scope.
So what do you mean when you say you could have performed better?
It was that, just initially when you asked the questions regarding that, how am I supposed to, and I lacked preciseness in giving the answers. So I can just monitor that what sort of questions are normally asked in the interviews. And based on that, I could have come prepared that how am I supposed to tackle these questions and answer accordingly. And
so overall, because you know math, even though you had a mistake, but you generally know math and you know how to program. So the first part, of course, in the weakest, where both the part where you talk about yourself and the part where you're answering the question about recommendation system.
okay.
The difference is that the part where you talk about yourself, you can actually prepare for, because you are not going to change from interview to interview. You may have a couple versions, so that if you interview for this kind of company, you tell them this story. If you interview for that kind of company, you tell them that story, but you can still practice all of that. You understood eventually what I was, a little bit more what I wanted. So that, for example, when I say, tell me about experience, you say, well, we worked at Chase and I was an intern and it was part-time and it was for weeks, right? And I interacted just with my mentor and another intern, right? That is what I wanted to hear in the beginning, because I don't know if you work part-time or 100 hours a week. I don't know if it was 1 day or 1 year. I don't know anything, right? So that helps me understand this experience better. Situation and the human aspect, it's more important than the technical aspect, because the technical aspect is tested separately, as you saw, right? So you should not go into details in the beginning. You should not start saying, oh, we built a server, we used Apache, and then it was sending packages, and then we use this format to put some bits in here, right? You don't want to start from it. You want to start from as a human, right? That I worked for this company and we worked on the project, and the reason we worked on the project is company wanted to check something, or why you worked on it. Just talk about this overall situation, and you can it can be a little longer answer if needed, if you need to explain everything, right? And then I would try to ask what was the role in it, and you would explain, well, my role was writing code, and it's this kind of information, like logistical almost information that you want to share.
Right.
Right, so people can have some context, because let's say I tell you I work for a fintech startup. You don't know anything. You don't know if I write code or if I manage other people. You don't know if I work part-time or full-time. You don't know if we work with Python or Node.js. You don't know if it's I write production code or I write for a mobile app or I do analytics. You don't know anything. So you need this context.
So it means I'm supposed to give them a brief interview about the whole scenario, that what I was working with, for what I was working, and what were the objectives to be accomplished, and how did it go. Means not touching the technical side, but the human side.
Some people here use this acronym called STAR, which is situation, task, actions, results. And you can use it on your resume as well. You can write created encoded website for allowing people to watch videos from 200 sources. The platform had 55 users who watched 700 videos over 2 months or something like that. So people see what the situation, what you did, and what the result was, and they get a quick mental idea of what's going on. And then they can ask you more questions, but they have to understand the basics first.
Right, yes.
Right, if they don't understand it, they will just think you have poor communication. They will just blame it on you if they don't understand.
Yeah, right. Yes, yes.
Right, and you want to have excellent communication so that people say, wow, this is so clear, it's just a pleasure working with this guy. He's so on point, and everything is so obvious what he's doing and what he has done. Let's work with him more.
Yeah, that's a great point to just boost the interest of others in working together. Yes.
And the recommendation system question. So again, you need to be more specific in what you're saying. So I'm saying, how do I tell if recommendation system performing well? You can answer, you take group A, you take group B, and you compare, for example, total sales over a month, say revenue, right? The total amount in dollars. Now, if group B with recommendations has much more revenue than group A, let's say more, you can say more by, I don't know, 10%, or you can say it's a statistically significant difference using some test from probability textbook. Then you say we keep recommendations, otherwise you don't keep recommendations. Right? That would be a specific answer. But your answer was, well, you could look at this, you could look at that, and then you could figure it out, right? And you certainly could figure it out, but that's your job. I'm already asking you to figure it out and tell me how to make the final decision. And I don't care what you have to do. I just want to know how to make a decision.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Right, so it's very important that you understand quickly and that you answer the precise question that is asked very precisely, answer exactly 100% what is being asked.
Okay, yeah.
Right, because because a lot of time is wasted in work, on people not understanding each other. So the faster you can understand or explain something, it just saves a lot of time, and then more things can be done.
Yes, right. Yes, yeah.
So you should try, to work more with other people, right? More with other developers, or you work with clients, or even if you work for free, you should try to work with more different people for a longer time, so you experience different situations of misunderstanding, just like when you code for a long time, you experience mistakes and then you learn. So when you work with other people in different roles, maybe you give them tasks, they give you tasks, they pay you, you pay them, you work together on a free project. For a long time, you experience different social situations, and then you get better at understanding what's going on, how to explain something. right? And that will also make you better at creating real value with your work.
Okay, yeah, right. Communication will, it obviously matters a lot in
And
improving the
you got it
efficiency
through
of work.
practice, of course. So you
Yeah, yeah.
cannot just work on your own
I
12
need to
hours.
team up with a lot many, so that means so that we can have a great practical practice of good communication, tackling many situations, and which will in turn make me better at this.
And it doesn't even have to be programming. You can build those skills in some other ways.
Right, even marketing and this they need excellent communication skills, and they will act as a good platform to test this and work on it.
Right.
Yeah.